I thought this was 6 flags, not 8 flags. Just noticed that. I've been taking it easy today. I did Whizzer, couple on Viper, 3 on Raging Bull. Yeah, the GoPro doesn't pick up night images too well. I finished off with 3 night rides on Goliath. The other day I finished the night with Raging Bull, so figured I'll end this day with Goliath. Another light crowd. I don't know what's going on here. Every time I've come to this park, it has been horribly packed. But the last 2 days, anything but. Haven't done much vlogging today because I met a fellow enthusiast and I was riding with him for most of the day. Also, I got here a little late. But once I met up with him, we just kept on riding together for the most part. But he wanted a couple rides on Batman the Ride because he hadn't ridden it yet this year. And I wanted to stay at Goliath. But I will be back here tomorrow for a full day here. Just got 7 laps in the first 65 minutes of park operation. And I did not use my flash pass at all. I knew that X Flight would be a good one to start with when you have Flash Pass, because with Flash Pass, when the line is backed up, you still gotta wait all the stairs on both sides, and that's only half the train that's gonna be filled on each side. So you might still be waiting 7 or 8 trains after the Flash Pass merge. So if you have Flash Pass or you're gonna get Flash Pass, start with X Flight. And don't use Flash Pass because that'll actually take longer, because then they got to scan you and everything, where if you're just walking up, you just walk right on by. Now that is, of course, before things get backed up behind the Flash Pass merge point. That did include a couple times getting to stay on the train at the start. Not gonna be able to do that right now. Maybe later in the day. That's the way it's worked the last 2 days. But this day is even nicer weather than yesterday. So I am kind of expecting bigger crowds, but it don't matter to me. I am so happy with what I've got done on X Flight. I've gotten 15 rides so far in the, well, day and a half plus today. This is actually my most ridden coaster at the park so far in this trip. And I gotta get back on American Eagle. I've only done 2 rides on it so far. After 2.5 days here, they finally opened Maxx Force. I was starting to think that there was something wrong with it, but they got it open and just got off it in the front row. Use my Flash Pass. You can only use it once on this ride, so if you got the all season or you buy it for the day, you can only use it once on this. But that's all right with me because I got a front row ride out of it, and that's mostly what I wanted. I just wanted to make sure I got at least 1 ride. And my feelings on it are about the same. Phenomenal launch. This dog tongue element is a whole lot of nothing. You got good height on it, but it literally does nothing else. Now this has great whip. I love that. And then this final element is a whole lot of nothing. And it's over that quick. So it's a 2-trick pony. Phenomenal launch, a great heartline roll, and then a couple gimmicks. And that's fine, you know. I love Top Thrill Dragster, or I did love Top Thrill Dragster. I love King Dakar, and those are basically 3-trick ponies. But I like those tricks a little more. Like this launch is more powerful than those, but I like those launches better because of the speed that you reach. Like, this reaches a great speed in a very short time. It's more powerful, but I would take a little less power on the launch and reaching a much higher speed. I like that better. My feelings on this are the same as what they were 5 years ago. It is a great ride, it is fun, but at this point I actually would put it number 6 in the park, behind Goliath, Raging Bull, X Flight, American Eagle, and Viper. Oh, Batman the Ride, yeah, I might put Batman the Ride ahead of this too. So yeah, this might be number 7. But that just speaks to the depth of the lineup at this park. I've been riding a lot of intense coasters, so time to take a break and ride their kiddie coaster. But it probably is the best kiddie coaster there is. After the pretzel loop, get ready for a bunch of swooping turns. Swooping turn to the right. And then just a gentle roll. But it is a good kiddie coaster. So today got 11 laps on Goliath. 21 for the trip. And who knows, I may come back in the morning and do a few more. And this was a day that you needed Flash Pass. It was back to a usual day here at Great America, where 30 minutes, 45 minutes on the lower tier rides, an hour or more on the upper tier rides, until you get to late in the day and then things start to thin out. So I definitely put my season-long Flash Pass to good use today. So it does seem like the first 2 days I had here were the anomalies. With such light crowds by their standards, it seems like normally you get days like today on weekdays, and weekends would be worse. So you just got to be prepared for that if you're coming here. The Maxx Force did open today. With Flash Pass, you only get to use it one time on Maxx Force. I have my 4 skip the lines that came with my season pass, which I thought I would never use, because I figured, why would I need it if I've got the season-long Flash Pass? Well, it's because of things like that. Maxx Force, I can only use it once a day with the Flash Pass, so I used a skip the line to get a second ride. Oddly enough, once they opened it, it's been up all day. But one interesting thing about this park is that they do seem to close some lines early. If lines are getting long, they even have things posted out front of that ride that'll say that the line will close early. So some rides you cannot jump in at the last minute and get a ride. Now, yesterday it looked like Goliath, you could jump in at the last minute. And that's basically what I did. I didn't use my Flash Pass for that. I think it just depends on how many people are in line. That will determine when they close the line. Which is kind of strange. I've never known Six Flags, any Six Flags park, to do that. And you might wonder, if the park's still open, why am I not still at Goliath? Well, because I got 21 rides on it this trip. I've only gotten 3 on Batman the Ride. I got night rides on Goliath yesterday. Why not get some night rides on Batman the Ride? Well, I might do vertical velocity again. It looks like that doesn't have a weight at all. I just got 5 rides done in 45 minutes, the first 45 minutes of operation. That is my suggestion for what to do here. Whether you have Flash Pass or not, start with X Flight. Even if you don't want to do a marathon with it like I've done the last 2 days, still, get your one ride if that's all you're wanting to do. Get it done early. Maybe you can start with something else, but get here within the first hour. So after spending several days here, getting a bit better perspective on everything, I was saying that Raging Bull could be my favorite in the park. You know what, I was kind of feeding off of the enthusiasm of some other people, some local people. And I understand, if this is your home park, you're gonna think that your B&M Hyper is the best, I get it. But after getting a little more perspective on things, I gotta put Raging Bull at number 3 in the park. As far as wing coasters go, I think I would still put this a little behind Wild Eagle for the setting. I think that the elements on this are overall better than Wild Eagle. But the setting towering above Dollywood the way it does, Wild Eagle, I like it a little more. But this still has my favorite near miss element on any wing coaster. Even though it's my least favorite of the 4 B&M wing coasters, it still has my favorite near miss, going through that tower there. This is also the shakiest of the B&M wing coasters. Gatekeeper, perfectly smooth. Thunderbird, almost perfectly smooth. Wild Eagle has a little shake to it in certain rows, especially if you're on an outside seat. X Flight, you kind of want to ride an inside seat because the outside seats can be a little shaky. I have no problem with the vest restraints on these. I don't see any difference between these and all the others. I think that gets over-exaggerated by people. So with 5 rides today, that's 20 rides in total. And as far as overall B&M hypers go with Raging Bull, I was saying that I thought it could be my second favorite, just behind Mako. But after realizing that, yes, it does have 2 phenomenal moments, but one is hit or miss. The drop in the back row is incredible. It's the best first drop on any B&M hyper. The drop off the mid-course sometimes is phenomenal. It's kind of strange. You can sit in the exact same seat on back-to-back rides. On one ride, it's strong ejector off the mid-course, and then the next ride, it's very mild ejector or really good floater. Raging Bull does not have a lot of airtime on it. I think I counted 6 moments. But some people like that because it's different than the others. But still, it seems like a lot of those turns are just filler. I think that Raging Bull is still gonna move up ahead of Behemoth, ahead of Intimidator, but probably not ahead of Goliath at Six Flags Over Georgia, and definitely not ahead of Diamondback, or Nitro, or Candemonium, or Mako. But it is moving up on my list, because it's riding much better today than it did 5 years ago. I was talking about it the other day with the guy that I met up with here, and this is his home park, about the amount of wood structure they put on that Raven turn. And yes, I'm calling it a Raven turn. That is what I think Alan Schilke or Fred Grubb was calling it in the documentary. Maybe both of them called it that. We all call it a dive loop, but they call it a Raven turn, so that's what I'm calling it. I like that better anyway. But just look at all that structure they put into this element. That is commitment. Now you'd think they could have just done steel supports for it, but they wanted to do wood supports, and that makes it so much better because you have all those head choppers as you're turning upside down through the wood structure, diving down through the wood structure. It makes that kind of my favorite element of the ride. We all love the zero-G stall. Who doesn't love a zero-G stall? But honestly, I think I like the Raven turn a little more. It could be the best sequence of 2 straight elements on any coaster. Now granted, between those 2 elements and the drop, you have 2 other great airtime moments, and then you have the turnaround sections on the far end, which are basically like little wave turns going into the turnaround. It would have been cool if they had thought of the reverse Cobra roll like on Twisted Cyclone. If they had thought of that before they built this, we might have had 4 inversions or even 6 on this. But still, I do like the turnarounds over there. It does give a little bit of airtime on both sides going into it and coming out of it. So you do get what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 airtime moments on a very short ride. Raging Bull's a very long ride and you get 6 airtime moments. Still love Raging Bull, but to me, Goliath is a clear winner. Don't know when I'll be back. It was 5 years between visits. Hopefully it won't be another 5 before I'm back. But I basically spent parts of 5 days here. What equated to about 3 days. So it was at 22 on Goliath, 20 on X Flight, 15 on Raging Bull, 9 on Viper. I did get a 3rd on Maxx Force, just did that with my 1 free flash pass per day today. No way I was gonna wait in that line. It moves so slow. But I was really happy with this visit. In fact, if I didn't have flash pass, Monday and Tuesday alone would have made this a great visit. However, you cannot count on getting days like that. you're most likely going to get days like yesterday and what today is looking like it'll be, which is hour-long waits on everything all day long. You got to manage it well. You got to get to some of the rides before they develop long lines in the morning. Maybe utilize a couple different days to get a lot knocked out that way, and then just take it easy midday when the lines are stupid long. Or you just buy Flash Pass, or the season-long Flash Pass like I did. That seems to be the only really great way to visit this park. Unless you're just okay with standing in hour-long lines. A lot of people don't mind that, and that's cool. I wish I were like you. Glad Maxx Force opened. I was worried I wasn't going to get any rides on it. Very happy to have gotten 3 on it. Got 4 on Batman the Ride and V2. I'm glad I did that because those are better rides than Maxx Force. I did 7 on Whizzer, so I got a lot done. But now I'm going to go over to the water park to ride their water coaster. And then I'm heading to Indiana to get a couple FECs tonight. Hopefully Chicago traffic won't be too awful. So on this day with a high in the lower 70s, the water coaster did not take long to get on. Still took about 15 minutes. And as far as the quality of the water coaster goes, don't let its height fool you. It is super tall. However, it is also quite weak. It is probably the weakest water coaster I've ever ridden. And that even includes the one at my home water park of Paradise Beach. Now this one does have a couple zippy drops that the one at my home water park doesn't have. But the one at my home water park also, you keep moving. This one, you almost come to stops many times throughout the course. It is really slow. And there is a hill kind of midway through the ride that does absolutely nothing. You barely make it over that, what's supposed to be a speed hill. So no airtime, no real laterals, just a couple zippy drops. But I will say that the final drop is kind of a double down, and you might get a really tiny smidge of airtime. Maybe if you have a lot of weight in your boat, you'll get a tiny smidge of airtime. I was the only one in my boat, and there is a minimum weight requirement of 110 pounds. Now I am above that, but not by a huge amount, so it's possible that a heavier boat might take some elements quicker. But the guy that I met the other day told me that it actually rides better with just one person in the boat, that it rides even slower with 2 people. So I haven't had the experience with 2 people in it to compare, but it kind of sounds like it might actually ride even slower with 2 people. But maybe that double down at the end might give a little better airtime with 2 people in it. With just me in it, it was like just the tiniest smidge, like it almost did, but not quite. I would say that was the best moment of the ride. I'm still glad I did it, of course, because I heard about that, and with its height and everything, I definitely wanted to try it out, and I'm glad I did. But I'm glad I didn't wait too long for it. But that's it from Six Flags Great America and Hurricane Harbor.